What you see here is a monument to the victims of Nazi hatred. But look closely. 2000, 2001, 2005. These victims of Nazi hatred didn't die during the Holocaust or World War II. They died just a few years ago at the hands of an underground neo-Nazi cell in Germany, the National Socialist Underground. The names of the 10 dead, 1 Greek and 8 Turkish, along with 1 German policewoman, all killed between 2000 and 2007. The alleged surviving member of the cell is currently facing a high-profile trial. Now, the text on the memorial reads, "We are dismayed and ashamed that these acts of terrorism were not recognized for years for what they were, murder and contempt for humankind. We say, never again." Never again, indeed. That is what the world said as the wounds of World War II were healing. But we are finding that the lessons of the past were forgotten all too soon. Now, before the break, we brought you to Latvia, where our journey began in the March in Riga. It was a wake-up call, a symbol of what we soon found was happening all across Europe, that Nazism was growing and growing faster than many expected. But we wanted to know more. Where else was this happening and how fast was it manifesting itself? So we went to Capitol Hill for answers. There, a group called World Without Nazism had convened in an attempt to draw attention to Europe's festering problem. We heard from several members of Congress who verified that the past had in fact begun to return.
There's significant evidence that's been presented in several countries of the rise of neo-Nazism. You've got marches that have taken place, people feeling emboldened to present their Nazi affiliation in a very public way, in a manner that we had not seen in the decades that followed the end of World War II. That's extremely troublesome.
There is a Nazi resurgence in various countries of Europe now. Conditions economically in many ways are similar to Europe in the 30s, and we must guard against Nazis taking power anywhere or even greatly influencing a government. So when you see in various countries, whether in Greece or Italy or some of the Eastern European countries, people attacked on the street for being the wrong ethnic group or the wrong religion by people who are proud of doing it, that's very dangerous.
It's very disconcerting that right-wing fascism and Nazism is rearing its ugly head again in Europe. The very place where the Holocaust happened not all that long ago in terms of history. And I think that we all have to be very careful to condemn it.
We also heard from activists from all across Europe who said the neo-Nazism is a virus that is spreading rapidly.
Today, for sure, in Hungary and in Greece, there is a very clear and present danger.
Joel Rubenfeld, co-chairman of the European Jewish Parliament, says that Nazi sentiment has always remained just beneath the surface in Europe, but has bubbled up recently because of the economic downturn.
I think that they were always a supporter and nostalgia of the Third Reich era, but there was not the momentum.
In Greece, the problem is particularly acute. Today, Golden Dawn, an ultra-nationalist neo-fascist political party, is gaining steam. Their flag, it looks like a swastika. Their slogan, Greece for the Greeks. In 2012, the party campaigned on an anti-immigration platform under the slogan, "So we can rid this land of filth." That year, they won enough votes to enter the parliament for the first time. They now have 18 seats in Greece's 300-member parliament. In 2011, Ilias Kasidiaris, a member of the parliament and spokesperson for the party, wrote an article which characterized Hitler as a great social reformer. Members of the party have been known to use the Nazi salute. We heard this from a Greek activist about how bad things have gotten in her home country.
Golden Dawn has become more dangerous, more aggressive, and more popular. Golden Dawn is not an average extreme right party. This is a very important distinction. It is an outright neo-Nazi party with a violent militant membership that is held responsible for a series of violent attacks, mostly against immigrants. Golden Dawn is increasingly assuming the role of law enforcement officers on the streets. Polls show that it is all done with the support of the police, as 50% of the police officers vote for them. In short, everyone who is not Greek, white, Christian and heterosexual is in danger in Greece. They've been attacking mostly immigrants, they have been attacking Roma houses, and they have been attacking LGBT citizens. I think that Greece is a racist country and was before the crisis, and intolerant. But due to the financial crisis, these people have more rage and they feel more secure in their position to express their opinions publicly. They want to clear Greece from non-Greek citizens. They are very explicit about this. It is not just a suggestion.
We asked Alicia if she, as an LGBT anti-Nazi activist, ever feels threatened.
Although I am, I do fear that I might be attacked, I try not to think about that, but at the same time keep myself safe and never walk alone in a place that I know that I could find a large group of Golden Dawn guards.
In Hungary, the past has also been forgotten. Up to 600,000 Jews and tens of thousands of gypsies from Hungarian territories all died during the Holocaust. Less than a lifetime later, Jobbik and Neo-Nazi Party is now the third largest in the Hungarian parliament. The Anti-Defamation League says it's one of the few political parties in Europe that overtly campaigns with anti-Semitic materials. Thomas Barat, the president of the Radnadi Anti-Racism Award Foundation and a professor at Budapest College of Management, described how thousands congregated in Budapest to celebrate Hitler's birthday.
In Germany, it was prohibited to celebrate the Hitler's birthday and such like events. And they come to Hungary by buses, because in Hungary it was not prohibited. It was allowed to organize these events, for instance, not too far from the Hungarian president's window. Several 100,000 people celebrated these events in Budapest.
Barat explained how a Hungarian member of parliament, a Jobbik party deputy leader, called for the creation of a list of Jewish politicians and government officials who he claimed pose a, quote, threat to national security, end quote.
Hungary is a huge anti-Semitic atmosphere. One of the representatives of the far-right party stated that we have a problem with the Jewish member of the parliaments. This is why we have to take a list who are the Jews in the parliament. They made a website, and the website you can find every Hungarian public person who are Jew. For instance, I'm also involved in this website because I'm Jew.
The Jobbik party was once closely associated with and may have even created the Hungarian Guard, a paramilitary organization accused of intimidating and attacking Hungary's gypsies. The Hungarian Guard, they held demonstrations throughout the country and called for the defense of ethnic Hungarians against so-called gypsy crime.
It has several attacks in Hungary against the Jews, against the gypsies. It worked the Hungarian Guard.
Vilmos Hanti described, through a translator, how he himself was attacked for being an anti-fascist activist.
A group of 15 to 20 youngsters on the streets recognized me, called me on name, held me down and punched me. They called him on his name, they knew who he was, and they asked, you're Vilmos Hanti, the organizer, the anti-fascist. And as soon as yes, he's Hanti, they just started beating him without mercy. I was threatened many times by far-right Nazi groups that they should hang me, they should kill me. I've many times been threatened. I reported it to the police, but never ever the Hungarian police did an investigation, and this is what I'm used to already.
The Hungarian Guard was banned in 2009, but attacks on gypsies, they have continued. Between January of 2008 and October of last year, there were 61 documented attacks on gypsies in Hungary, attacks which took a total of 9 lives, including 2 children. And in Latvia, a different kind of discrimination has taken hold. Over 300,000 of Latvia's 2 million people are considered non-citizens. That means that they have a residence permit, but they are not permitted to vote or to hold certain jobs. Most of these non-citizens are Russian speakers. A Latvian member of the European Parliament explained how even our own mother couldn't vote for her.
In Latvia and Estonia, the citizenship was granted only to pre-war citizens and their descendants. All newcomers after Second World War were attributed as non-citizens. For example, my mother, who was stateless, she died 2 years ago. For 20 years, she could not vote, even for me.
In speaking with each of the politicians and activists, a startling theme emerged. Today's Europe appears to bear echoes of a period just before World War II.
And the Hungarian government doesn't fight enough against the ultra-right. The problem is, it's very similar, this policy, as happened in the Second World War, when the Second World War was started.
Well, I think it's because of the financial crisis that people are trying to find a scapegoat to accuse. Even in Nazi Germany, that was the reason why people started to be hostile with minorities and people that are not German.
The economic crisis is a very fertile ground for this kind of extremist movements. So that's one thing. The other thing is Europe, there is an identity crisis in Europe, and so it doesn't help.
Having divided the population on different categories is one of signs of Nazism.
The story is far from over. Police recently arrested more than 20 members of Golden Dawn, including the party's leader. They also arrested 5 other parliamentarians. They were arrested on charges ranging from founding and participating in a criminal gang to blackmail to assault and even murder. Now, the arrests come after the stabbing death of a left-wing hip-hop artist at the hands of an alleged Golden Dawn sympathizer. The party, they've denied involvement in the stabbing. As the investigation continues, they are calling for Golden Dawn to be banned altogether. In Hungary this summer, 3 members of a neo-Nazi gang who killed 6 gypsies and injured dozens of others in a series of planned attacks were jailed for life. Another perpetrator was handed a 13-year sentence. The gang had unleashed a reign of terror on Hungarian gypsies in 2008 and 2009. They set fire to homes, hurled Molotov cocktails, and shot their victims, some of them as young as the age of 4. The police, they were slow to respond. Now, we return, we will hear from an expert on Nazism and anti-Semitism who will explain why this particular moment in history is witnessing a resurgence of hate. Please stay with us.